What?
Figure out how that onion bulb got in there. Same with the garlic, it shouldn't be. Fastest way I know to get them out of the skins, just smash them. And then pray. And we welcome you to Julia's kitchen!
Unfortunately, Julia, all we are focusing on is your hands at the moment.
Good.
You do not have your face in the picture. When you started smashing the garlic, I zoomed in on you.
I think
Going to do some more smashing?
in a couple of minutes.
Oh, well, it's going to be that long. Oh, widen out.
I think the best line I ever heard from Julia Child was when late 60s, early 70s, and she was talking about deboning a chicken. Oh, no, turkey. Deboning a turkey. And she goes through all these manipulations with this poor bird. But the line that was well worth waiting for is, she said, now once you get your meat out, you can do anything with it. And I could, to this day, imagine the television crew probably falling flat on their faces.
And she didn't catch her own line.
She didn't catch her own line. Once you get your meat out, you can do anything with it. And I've never forgotten that. I roared with laughter for a good 10 minutes. She's actually something of a snob, though, surprisingly. She was doing a travelogue going back to Norway, and she went to Bergen, and in Bergen they have this really phenomenal sculpture garden. And she found the sculptures rather offensive and was never quite happy with them. They were very much done in the 30s style with rather blocky, chunky nudes, and she just didn't like them. I thought, give me a break, lady. But yes, but she's still the patron saint, I think, of most gay cookers. You know, Saint Julia. Even though we here in the Northwest have our own very famous person, and that's Jeff Smith, the frugal gourmet, whom I have met.
He's a family member?
No, he's not. Yes, he is. Oh, God, is he? And the rumors about him when he was running the Bishop's Pantry down into, I think it was Tacoma. It was affectionately known amongst the family members as the Bishop's Panties. He and his lover live down and have a place in Pike Street Market. And you'll see him running in and out of there all the time.
Now, was that cooking wine you were drinking there?
That was my beer.
Oh.
No, Julia Child does the cooking wine thing. She just... Another time she was cooking a birthday dinner, and I swear there was wine and everything. She said, it's my dinner and I'm going to cook what I want. She was half soused before the meal was served. I love her. Absolutely love her. I'll save those for later. There are 50 million ways to chop garlic. I've seen people slice them and do all sorts of manipulations. My favorite way is just to start chopping and work them back to the center. And there's been some controversy recently about plastic chopping boards as opposed to wooden chopping boards, like I'm chopping on here. And the interesting thing at the end of the results, at the end of the test, and they're still debating the statistics on it, is that they couldn't get this plastic thing clean enough to not have any bacteria still grow on it where they could on the wood. So what they surmised was that the plastic, because of all the different fine cuts that it gets, holds food particles. And since plastic doesn't absorb anything, such as bleach or any cleaning materials or any solutions, they stay there, whereas with wood, you know, you throw a little bleach on it, gets soaked in, and kills everything. And when we say wood, I'm talking about good maple or oak, not your little pine things like they give you in a house like this, which is good for setting a pot on, and that's about all. And the only reason why I use this board is because this thing is so old, it's got a hollow in the middle. And I end up having to chase all my stuff around while I'm cooking. Okay, set that to one side. Save that for later. Down there. Now, can you eat a whole one, or do you want a half of one?
Well, I suppose if I don't eat the whole, I can eat the other half later, right?
Tomorrow. Yeah, it's great lunch. Whatever. Just want to know. I just love these little fuckers. Is this being censored, by the way?
It can be.
And I'm not doing anything special with them. I'm just going to open these little puppies up.
Well, hopefully you're going to do this just like you see them do it on TV, as in explain everything that you've been doing a great job of so far.
Nah, I like keeping cooking simple. I have friends that just get, wound up with it and do 50 million things, and the end result, it's like, gee, it's nice, but you could have done it a hell of a lot faster with less trouble. I mean, I get carried away occasionally. I've been known to have sauces bubbling away and flaming things going here and there, besides the cook. And yes, it's called, hey, it's my kitchen. If you don't like it, too bad. In this house, it's not a matter if you can't stand the heat, it's if you can't stand the cook. Get out of the kitchen. It says restaurant attire. I must always have it. I forgot which restaurant I got this from.
Just remember, your mother will probably get a copy of this.
Then you damn well better censor us. As much as possible. Because I forgot she does have a VCR. What do I want? I want some parsley. But I like to cook. It's fun. Gives me something to do.
You know, Odd, that you're going to be amazed when you see this. Your kitchen looks like one of those TV kitchens.
Oh no, that's hard.
It looks like a TV kitchen set. It's incredible.
Well, it wasn't intentional, believe me. It was just, this is the way I like my kitchens. My friend Eric, who designs houses, does a beautiful job on houses. Can't design a kitchen worth shit. And I've told him so. More times than none.
Now, by the way, if you're going to go do something that will look good in a close-up like you're about to do now, give me some sort of a...
Oh, sorry. I don't stop. I just keep cooking.
I'm aware of that. What are we cutting up here?
I'm just cutting up some parsley. And it's really funny. Parsley is probably one of the cheapest things that you can buy or have in a kitchen for flavoring besides salt and pepper. And yet so few people will have it around. You save yourself a fortune, go out when parsley is really cheap, like 39 cents or for 3 bunches or whatever. Buy a whole bunch of it up, take it off the long stems, chop it up, put it in a piece of like a kitchen tea towel, squeeze all the juice out of it, lay it out and let it dry, and you got all the parsley you need for the rest of the year, rather than going out and buying shillings or who's ever. You know, it's a waste of time. I love freshly chopped parsley on like new potatoes with butter. And it doesn't take that long. You know, people think you've got to spend hours doing things, and you really don't. Most of it is really easy. Get yourself a good set of knives. One, because it makes it easier, and if you cut yourself, it doesn't hurt as much. Seriously. You cut yourself with a dull knife, it hurts. Cut yourself with a sharp knife, cut it until it's over. Try it one day.
No, I think I'll pass on that.
And all I'm doing there is just getting things together for marinating. Let's see if I can get the gizzards out of this dumb bird. And, you know, you don't really need a whole hell of a lot of fancy equipment. Most people think you've got to have 50 million pots and pans. You know, I look up at my rack. You can get by with just a few things. And if you do it right, it makes it a lot easier. And like these little puppies are going to go on a grill, so I don't have to worry about a pan for them other than to marinate in it. I'm just going to marinate them in some garlic, some parsley, a little salt, a little pepper. I might throw a couple of other herbs on, and you know, got some basil left. And then I will baste them with the oil solution that I put on them, and they'll be fine. And if a person is ecology minded, which I sort of am, but not tonight, instead of paper towels, just keep yourself a good supply of tea towels. Throw them into the laundry and wash them out, and you've always got them. I'm sort of cheating on this because I want to hurry it along. And actually, this is sort of good because it's still slightly frozen in the middle. So we can cut through the breastbone. Ta-da! Get the innards out, which I'll use later for stock. Bring the puppy out. You got a meal for, you know, one person, or if you're me, greedy. And what I'm going to do is do the same thing with this one. So I can get that stupid gizzard out. One of the nice things I like about this particular Cornish game hen, whoever packaged it took the heart out, which I'm glad because I don't like the hearts, and they tend to go bad if you don't get them right out. Some of this I'll save for Radamaze because he likes it. Like the liver. But I'll use the gizzard and the neck and everything for a stock. And what I do is, it's people go out and they spend all kinds of money on, you know, packaged sauces and packaged like chicken stock. I go to the store, I like the chicken breast, and so I buy it. But what I do is I skin it. I skin all of my chicken. And I save the breast, I'll save the bones and the skin. And then I'll go in and get an old stewing chicken that doesn't cost anything, you know, practically nothing. and I'll add all those pieces that I've been storing in the freezer from all the, the chicken breasts and the chicken skins, and make my stock. I've saved myself some money because you can freeze it up, But other people want to go out and spend, $50 million on all these fancy things, and they really don't need it. When half of it's right there. Carrot tops, celery tops, things of that nature. Like this fat, I'll cut it off, and it will go in for stock. And there's there's a difference when you take a few minutes initially and save something for later to use. It's being economical. And that's one of the things I like about Jeff Smith, is that he says, you're being frugal, but you're not being cheap. Mm-hmm. And in this society nowadays, and I've said this to other people, I said we've become so conditioned to everything being pasteurized, homogenized, sanitized, and wrapped that we don't know what anything tastes like anymore. And it irritates the shit out of me. And I watch these cooks on television that, everything goes in with a spoon. Hell, your hands were here before spoons were. Use them. I think Justin Wilson, the Raging Cajun, he does that. I mean, he uses his hands for everything. I think it's great. I don't have his cookbook. I have Paul Prudhomme's, though, he does the same thing. It's like, use your hands. They were here first. To be exact, one of my cookbooks, it's called Kitchen Equipment. The first thing listed is hands. And I love that. Okay, you want to dry it off a little bit. Puppies in there. And I'm not organized. Like I said earlier, a few days ago, I used to drive a couple of my roommates nuts. Because when I got in the kitchen, it was like things sort of went left and right, and somehow or another it all came out. I never worried about it. Radames is having a ball, the blood's dripping on the floor. Like I said, I've never been organized. I cook by feel. A lot of times people say, well, how much? And I say, well, whatever looks right. Whatever tastes right, whatever feels right. I think having a working knowledge of what things are going to taste like help. And knowing what some of your different spices or herbs will do over a period of time, so you don't get carried away putting too much in at first. Again, so many people are too much in a hurry to take a minute and think about what something's going to taste like. There. Are you having fun? Huh? Yeah, you're just going nuts, aren't you? Chicken blood down there. You're just gobbling it all up. And people spend a small fortune for saran wrap and all this stuff. You go to the store, you pay for the damn plastic anyway. You might as well use it again. So I put any of my skins and bones, plastic bag, put it up and throw it in the freezer. Pull it out later when I figure out what it is 6 months from now. So much for that. Now, where's my olive oil? Olive oil. And I love cooks who have their houses or their kitchens organized. Mine isn't. It's like wherever it went last, that's where I remember where it's at. And measure? Yeah, occasionally. I don't get carried away with it. Cooking is an art, baking is a science. And with art, you're allowed a lot of leeway. And I take full advantage of it. I'll put this on. And the things like, I could use garlic powder on this, or I could use garlic salt. But those tend to give immediate flavors. And people tend to get carried away by putting too much on. Whereas if you use something fresh, the flavor comes in much more subtly over a period of time. And it allows you to adjust other spices or other herbs that you want to put with it. One of the things I also like, where is it? Not too much. Would you believe this was actually organized at one time? Oh, that's what I'm looking for. I want to use fresh. White pepper. I have black pepper, but I tend to like white pepper. You get the flavor, but it's not as strong. So I can play with it a little bit more. Plus I like the way it doesn't look. Salt, yes. Julia Child said it best. Everything in moderation. Use a little bit. These people that are on this big, no this, no that. You know, I think there's a health cult called breatharians, and all they figure they can live on is air. Well, go for it. I refuse. If you can do it, good luck. I also like fresh herbs when I can get them. This is the only thing that's lived in this house long enough herb-wise for me to be able to use. And I love the taste of rosemary. And I'm going to put fresh rosemary on. Gives it a special flavor. And what I'll also do when I'm putting it on the grill is I will throw some on the fire so it sort of smokes in there and gives it a flavor. I'll let it sit, half hour, a little bit longer. It doesn't depend. This meal isn't going to be rushed. It's late, but what the hell? I get up late every day. And I'll cover it with some El Cheapo tin foil. Why buy Alcoa? They're going to charge you more for something they're going to throw away. I get the cheapest one if it's just for wrapping something, to cover something up. We'll let that sit for a while. And I'm not going to put it in the refrigerator. I want it to really work. Refrigeration slows things down. It's not like it's going to be sitting all night. The chicken is still fairly cold, so I'm not worried about catching anything. And the board was clean, so I'm not worried about it either. I'll save these for later. Ready for a gizzard? And tomorrow, a 12-tier birthday cake. Y'all come back now. Yeah, I'll give you this later. Maybe next week when you've been a good boy. Now comes the decision. It's called making things simple. This time of the year, we've got lots of fresh corn, especially in this area. It's selling it like 8 ears for $1, which is cheap. And if my garden had survived, I wouldn't have had to pay that. Figure next year, what the hell. So again, it's called making a decision. I could take the corn and husk it and boil it, which would take all the flavor out. Or I could take it and wrap it up in aluminum foil and put it on the coals. But I'm cheap. So what I'm going to do, if I can find the, sorry, SOB, is, I bet it's up there. Well, I'll use this one. I'm going to use Nature's Own cooking pot. I think those will fit, I hope. One ear enough for you? You can save the others for later. Yeah. Perfect. Those will be recycled in the compost bin. Perfect size. These puppies soak in cold water while the chicken's marinating. And you can set them on the grill, and they'll steam themselves right inside the husk. All you do is throw the husk away. You're not actually recycle it, and you're helping the ecology. So the dinner's going to be simple: Cornish game hens grilled with rosemary and garlic, corn on the cob. And what else was I going to fix? No, salad with avocado and tomato, blue cheese dressing, white wine, little French bread, and that's dinner. You know where to go. Ta-da! And I'm going to sit down for a minute. Actually, I want to check that fire to make sure it's still going. And I remembered you liked sunflower seeds, so I bought some for you. Bye. Welcome back, and here we go again. Update on what the dinner is, if I can still remember. Cornish game hen, marinate it with just a little garlic, parsley, and rosemary. Corn on the cob, salad with avocado. And I think I got some sunflower seeds. And that's about it. And some French bread. Get ready to make the salad. I cheat. I figure somebody else can do all the chopping. I'm also very lazy. The only thing I don't like about most of these salads, and I have to admit, they use a sulfur type preservative to rinse them, so it stays for quite a long time, and unfortunately I tend to be sensitive to this stuff. So I don't eat a lot of it, but you know, it's good. I'll get over it. I won't worry. And since I know Lee likes salad, I'm going to fix a whole bunch of it up. What he doesn't eat tonight, he can have tomorrow for lunch. I try to, when I shop, be economical. And you can buy those, they'll give you like a 1 pound bag for like $1.59. And then right next to it, they'll have a 2 pound bag for $2.39. And I'm standing there saying, well, you know, what the heck? Buy the 2 pound bag. It's cheaper than buying 2 1 pound bags. Save myself $1. I'm gonna throw an avocado in. Avocados are real cheap right now. And, you know, a little flavor. Just a matter of taking a nice knife. I was watching one of the television shows. Why didn't I think of that? And they present all sort of new inventions. And this one woman invented a device that cuts the avocado, takes the pit out, and scoops the meat out all in one movement. Which, you know, if you really like avocados, saves a lot of time. And this puppy doesn't want to come out. So there goes that idea. There we go. These grow nicely, but this one's not going to get grown in this house. We've got too many plants. Okay, I could scoop this out, but because I want chunks and some slices in my salad, you know, everybody just sort of like takes a salad, mixes it all up. You know, presentation is happening. I remember my grandmother always saying, presentation is important. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn the little puppy over. This is my cheating way. Rather than taking a spoon, just going to cut it in half. Cut it like that. Cut it like that. We got little wedges then. The skin peels off very nicely, almost like an orange. You have these nice. It doesn't work as well with a really soft avocado. So when you go and get your avocados, check them for a little bit of firmness. If they're overly ripe, this thing will fall apart on you. And then you got guacamole. And I got a great guacamole dip. Doesn't have mayonnaise in it. And again, into the compost pile. Turn it over. And again, I watch these different chefs on television and they come up with 50 million ways to cut an avocado. And I say, you know, simplest way is the best. Just go straight at it. Hi, Mace. No, you don't like avocado, so you're not going to have this. We are back. Lee had to change the film. So my avocado is laying here like a dead fish. But anyway. Basically, keep it simple. Just take the skin off. And put them aside. And I've heard people say, you know, put it, like if you make a guacamole dip, you put it in, put the seed pit back in with it and all that stuff. And I've never had it work for me. So what I like to do is probably the easiest thing, and since this is going to get cut up later, just put it in. And they say put lemon juice. Well, basically any kind of citric flavor, orange or lime. I wouldn't try grapefruit. I don't think that would work. And since I forgot to buy the lemon while I was at the store, I do have a lime. I think that'd give a rather interesting flavor. Something I've never tried before. So this is going to be an experiment for everybody. And I'm just going to take a couple of slices of lime. And basically the reason why you want to put it on is to keep it from turning brown. You can do this with apples or any fresh fruits, but it also works great with avocados. And I'm just going to let this little puppy sit here for a while. It doesn't take a lot. You don't have to drown it and give it swimming lessons. I just want to coat it. I'm going to let it sit for a few minutes, put this lime back in. And I have a tomato. They're in season now. What the hell? So like I said, a little avocado, tomato, and nothing special with it. Put that out of the way. Slice of, ooh, that's a nice one. I got lucky. And, you know, unless you're showing this stuff to somebody for a prize, don't get carried away. I watch, again, these cooking shows and everything is just so precise. And, you know, Escoffier's been dead for years. Don't worry about it. James Beard's been dead for a couple of years. Don't worry about it. Cooking should be fun. It shouldn't be a chore. And I think most of us, especially if you live alone, you make it a chore. Some good cookbooks out there for cooking for 2 people and make the adjustments. You can make it for 1 person. You got Seal Meals, vacuum packing, making something up ahead of time. Stock pots are great. I love my stock pot. Or a crock pot. Crock pots, stock pots. Those are really great. And if you're Unless you're 6'3", make sure the thing is a lot taller than you are. Use fresh vegetables, fresh fruits when they're in season. I do. And Mother, in case you're watching this, leave the sunflower seeds out, because I know you're allergic to them. A little extra flavor. You know, if you're into croutons, great, put croutons in. Dried bread just never really turned me on. And jars. I work for a recycling company. People throw things away. I'm a pack rat. You throw it away, it's mine. Put that little puppy in there. Yeah, one of these days I'll manage to find the rubber seal that goes on it. For the time being, there it goes. It's out of the way and I don't have to worry about it. I know what it's in. I don't have to even label it. Because God knows there's enough labels in this house. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Most people are probably more organized than I will ever be, and I'm not going to worry about it. Just mix this all up, get it ready. One of my favorite things, now this is going to have a blue cheese dressing, so I really don't have to put too much else on it. In fact, I'm not going to. The last thing I'll do after that avocado is set for a while and absorb some of that lime is cut it up a little bit finer and throw it on top, mix it all up, serve it with the blue cheese dressing, get the French bread ready. While we've been talking, the coals have been doing their thing. They're almost ready. For those of you who don't know, don't put knives down in sinks in hot soapy water. Rinse them off, wipe them, and put them away. You ruin a blade. Like I said, if you keep your knives sharp, keep them clean, they'll last for years. I don't know how many years I've had those. You're better off spending a little bit more money up front for a good set of knives than going out and getting the Ginja Special that cuts everything except the meat and the tomato that you want cut for dinner. Believe me, I've got one of those things. It doesn't work. It's a nice plastic handle. Where is it? I think it's around here somewhere. But I've got a bunch, you know, Old Hickory, Soligan, Hinkle, Saboteur. Those are probably some of your best. Spend a few extra dollars at a outlet that sells restaurant equipment, and you'll be a lot happier in the long run. It may not look as fancy, but hell, you're not eating it. You're only cooking with it. You're not serving on it, so it really doesn't matter. And I'm just going to set this over to one side and see what the chicken looks like. And Cornish game hen. These have been marinating for about, what, half hour, maybe 45 minutes. I'm going to turn them over, coat them on the back side. Haven't done anything else with them. They were still just slightly frozen when I put them in here, so they're still nice and cold, so I wasn't worried about having to put them back in the refrigerator. What I may do is add a little extra pepper to the inside. What do I do with the pepper? Pepper. It's in here somewhere. White pepper, sage, cloves, cream of tartar. Like I said, most people are more organized than I will ever be, and I don't worry about it. Oh, there it is. Under the breadcrumbs. Works for me. And what I'm going to do is put these over. The coals are nice and hot outside. I may throw a few extra sprigs of rosemary on the fire. I'll let them soak. Time-wise, as far as cooking, until they're done. You don't want to dry it out. So you want to go back every now and then and poke it with a fork. If it still bleeds, leave it on. If it stops bleeding, take it off. chicken like this doesn't take that long. Or basically, it's a chicken. Cornish game hen. It's like this little sucker hasn't grown up there. So, this thing of precise time, no, I'm cooking on coals. I don't know exactly how hot they are, how cold they are. I'm going to go by feel. Biggest thing is if you stick a fork in it, it bleeds, leave it on. If you see any blood, leave it on. Once it stops bleeding, take it off. It's probably done. I'll use some of the oil that's been marinating this to brush them while they're cooking to keep them from drying out. I've got a Weber kettle, so I will close probably the vents as much as possible so it deep cooks. I'm not doing a central cooking where I've got like a pan in the middle and the coals around. I don't want to do that. I want to get them nice and brown because I've left the skin on and I want it to get crispy. Probably I'll put the corn on just about the same time. It'll steam itself in its own husk. And if everything works right, it should all come off at the same time. But God only knows, I'm cooking. So I'm going to go outside while Lee stands here and does something with a stupid camera. Find my fork, which I know is around here somewhere. I know. I will use tongs. Actually, you should use tongs rather than a fork. Unless you're testing it, because you don't want to pierce the skin any more than necessary. Another thing, like with you cooking anything, you don't want to turn it that often because it toughens it, especially like if you're cooking meat. The more you turn it, the tougher it gets. So let it stay on one side, cook as far through as you think it needs to, then turn it over. These hens are about, less than a pound, I know that. They might be right at a pound, frozen. I figure 15 minutes max on either side is going to probably make it just right. So it's around 9:30 now our time. I'll probably put them on and go back in about 5 minutes to just see if the coals have cooled down enough after I put them on and they haven't burnt everything, and then I'll watch them, brush them. But it shouldn't take more than about maybe 20-25 minutes, 30 at the max to cook these, even though they were frozen before I put them in here. And that's about it. See you in a bit. Bye. Since it is getting a little late, but like I said, what the heck? Get to bed late all the time. And the avocado hasn't turned brown. The lime worked, and like I said, it'll be interesting to see how this tastes with a blue cheese dressing with just a hint of fresh lime juice. On it. I think you can even go to a drugstore and buy absorbic acid. I'm going, why buy it when you can, get a lemon, squeeze it, use a lemon rind for something. I like taking lemon rind and saving them and using them for other dishes later. I think what happens is people sort of get stuck in this idea of, well, I can only use it for one thing and one thing only. If you take a couple of minutes and think about it, you probably use it for something else. Something you never thought about. So I'll sort of set it aside. Needless to say, my refrigerator gets a little crowded and I forget what things are. And it grows. It's like a lab experiment out of high school. No, I'm going to put it over here. This is where it belongs. I always look for it there, and it's always in the other cabinet. Anyway, all I did was chop up my avocado, mix it, and I'm a firm believer, don't drown your salads. If you're going to toss it, and then let it sit to one side. And put just a little bit on to give it a taste. Didn't buy any cheese. I should have bought some cheese. Would have really been good. A little cheddar. Anyway, There ain't a heck of a lot other to report. Game hens are cooking the butts off. Threw the corn in the middle. That'll steam it. And figure within the next 20 minutes we'll be eating dinner. If I remember what to put the bread on. And that's about it. Not a heck of a lot. Hope you've enjoyed. Have a good night. In case you're wondering what the heck I'm doing, Lee decided he wanted me to show you how to open a bottle of wine. This is vintage 1991, so at least 2 years old. Butterflies. These are great. They're for people who don't know what the hell they're doing. And I can't find my real wine opener that I used as a waiter for several years. But it's simple. Just go around the top. Obviously, this must be an expensive wine, you're saying, because you don't unscrew it. Basically, put it in. Turn it until those little arms come up. Interesting thing to note about American wines, the corks are shorter than French wines or even Italian wines, so you don't have to go as deep. If you get an Italian wine or a French wine, go a few turns further. Gently work it out. And yes, you go through the routine of smelling the cork. You know why? I think it's to open somebody's sinuses. I never really figured it out, but really the biggest thing is to see if it's turned to vinegar. And you really only smell that most of the time with red wines and not with whites. And I'm not going to taste this because I know it's going to be cheap. They're just mainly for cooking and for enjoying, sitting and gulping. You find when you pull the cork out that one end's going to be a little bit bigger than the other, as it does happen because it expands from moisture. So what I do is I just put the other end that I opened up and stick it in there. And it's fine for the rest of the day. And that's how you open a bottle of wine. Like I said, those Cornish game hens are doing all sorts of wonderful, marvelous things. They shouldn't be too much longer. A few more minutes. Corn should almost be ready too. And we'll be sitting down to dinner and we'll tell you what happens after that. Enjoy. And we've got the wine, we've got the meat, we've got the salt and pepper, got a salad, got to get dressing. And basically this is about it. Most of the time was bullshitting about how you're supposed to prepare it. But it doesn't cost that much. It's easy. You play with the barbecue grill. I love even barbecuing in the wintertime. Who says it has to be summer? Get a good bed of coals. Put the stuff outside, gives you a reason to run out every now and then and check on it. And it sort of reminds you of what summer's going to be all about. Getting out and enjoying. So while we enjoy, I hope you enjoy, and I'm going to eat. Bye. Lee, you like blue cheese, right? Okay. And just a reminder, people, always taste your food before you salt it. There's nothing like insulting the cook with throwing it on before you even taste it. And that's about it. I don't know about you guys, but I'm hungry and it's late and I'm going to sit down and eat. Oh, yes. Lee, remind me, I have to pour the wine. Isn't this a nice decanter? God, it's uneven on the bottom. Never noticed. I figured it beat the big bottle on the table. I'm not going to go through the whole perfunctory of tasting it and swirling it around in my mouth. I know what this stuff is going to taste like. It's going to be good. It's bulk wine. That doesn't mean to say that I don't know what good wine tastes like. And that's it, a simple meal. Some corn, some chicken, a little salad, some bread, and as I say, à votre santé, to your health. Just right.